Jovan Buha! Buha!
Yo, I'm Jovan Buha, Lakers beat writer for The Athletic, and welcome to another episode of Buha's Block, a special episode of Buha's Block. You guys had been asking for this episode for months. You wanted a Lakers beat writers roundtable, and we recorded it in between games 3 and 4 of the first round series between the Lakers and the Minnesota Timberwolves. I got together with ESPN's Dave McMenamin, the LA Times' Dan Woike, and the Southern California News Group's Khobi to record a roundtable with the questions that you guys had submitted on YouTube. So we went for a little over an hour. It went off the rails a bit. And just to preface the quality of this conversation, it is not the best audio. I did use my Shure SM7B, but we had to pass it around between the four of us. So there are some times the audio is not perfect. There's some static, and the connection was not great. Also, for those watching on YouTube, there is a point late in the video, I think it's around the 1 hour mark, where the video freezes and goes blurry for about 2 to 3 minutes. Fortunately, the audio still worked, but it's a fun conversation. I think you will enjoy this one. It is the loosest episode I've ever done. We talk about our careers, the state of NBA media, what it's like to cover the Lakers, what it's like to be on the road, advice for anybody that wants to get into sports media, and just anything you would want to know from the Lakers beat. These are guys I spend more time with than my wife. These are guys that I'm flying with, I'm staying at the same hotel with, I'm going to dinners with, drinks with, and I hope you can see that bond we've developed through the years together. So without further ado, I hope you enjoy this unserious conversation. All right, we are here with I'm going to do an intro into it. Yeah. Should we redo it?
No.
Okay, let's keep going. Okay. All right, we are here with the Lakers beat writers. We are doing a Lakers beat writer roundtable here with Dan Woike of the LA Times, Dave McMenamin of ESPN, Khobi of the Southern California News Group. You guys have been asking for this for multiple months, and we finally made it work here in Minneapolis. So first question, let's just get right into it.
Before we get started, I just want to say, guys, all of you wore shirts. Very professional of everybody.
I do have a beer, though.
Less professional.
This is water. This is sparkling water, by the way.
Dave has a beer, too.
Yeah, Jovan and I. Cheers, Stella.
Cheers.
There we go.
All right. Dan,
This is the beat life.
Hydration.
There we go.
Cheers.
There's water in beer. Despite, yeah. So let's just get straight into it. First one from Tali Khalifa. If you can change anything about the NBA media industry, specifically, what changes would you guys make?
Higher paid beat writers.
Oh, yeah, that's an easy one.
Take the mic if you want.
Okay. I think it's a really good question. What would I change? I think like a space in which we could be reactionary, but like a tinge more nuanced, I think would be ideal for me. I think like conversations about legacy are fun. I think conversations about the future are fun. What teams should have done, like all that stuff is great. I think sometimes though we get lost into like what just happened or what's about to happen next, and we sort of lose the thread on the moment. Yeah. Would be probably, I would say, the thing I would change most. And then I would like to make more money.
That's fair.
Like a lot more money.
I would say, I can't control how other media do their job, but I should be able to influence how the teams work with the media. And so I think a very basic fix that would lead to better coverage is teams abiding by the availabilities that have been negotiated amongst our writing cohort, our reporter cohort with the league. Yeah, so like, for instance, if anytime a team has a practice, as a reporter core, we should be allowed to request to speak to any player who's active on the roster. Now, there's reasonable declines if a player has a prior obligation, has to get out of there, or maybe we spoke to him for 3 or 4 days straight. All those things we can understand. but we keep tabs of all the players that we interview throughout the season in Google Docs. And sometimes we'll open up a doc and be like, wow, we haven't talked to this guy in 6 weeks. Yeah. And that is a lot of times because of a lack of availability that we get from these players. Obviously, like, and then some of it is teams don't practice as much as they used to. I've been covering the league for like close to 20 years. It used to be a lot more practices. I get that. But listen, for someone like Dorian Finney-Smith, who's wonderful to work with, Austin Reeves, wonderful to work with, we don't take for granted the chances to talk to them at practice, but it would be nice to talk to a LeBron or a Luka more often than we do. Yeah. And quite frankly, you do it because it can lead to different types of stories, right? And hey, that's you want to talk about that one? Don't get me started.
Khobi, anything you want to?
I mean, I guess it's one that probably doesn't affect us as much since we're beat writers, beat reporters, but probably better uniformity in terms of like I wasn't a beat writer when this happened, but the pandemic really affected like the tier system between tier 1, tier 2, the access that you get based off those. Yeah. There was better uniformity between, all right, this person gets tier. There are people who cover the Lakers who will get tier 2, but if they go cover the Clippers, they get tier 1, right? Yeah. If there was better uniformity across the league between maybe more league mandated thing of your outlet gets tier 1 access at every arena.
Do you understand his face is on the bottom of that
microphone? I didn't realize this until like the very beginning. I didn't realize he had. And he was holding it in front of your face. So how do you feel? But yeah, that would be like
home.
All right. We're already off the rails. That would be one. One doesn't.
Yeah.
And obviously the higher pay would be nice. But that's like an easy one.
I have another one too.
Take the mic.
And I think this is probably a little old-fashioned of me, but like I think everything lives like within a moment too. Like if like we see no practice. I know this is a big one for you, Dave. Like we don't see practice. We're supposed to see 10 minutes of practice. Yeah, I think it might be 15. And we basically just watch guys shoot free throws and occasionally go through individual work. And one of the reasons why teams don't do it is because if we did, right, like it's a B-roll section, you would post video and like people would just overreact to everything they saw. And I'm not blaming the people necessarily, but that's just sort of the way media is consumed right now, where everything is sort of like lives like completely sans context. And I think like if we could figure out a way to provide people the things they want in terms of immediacy, while like also training people to like know where to go for proper context, it would be like a healthier ecosystem. Like I think both can exist. And that would be something I think I would like to change.
I posted.
Not done yet. We're not done yet, Mitch.
I posted the clip on my last vlog of the guys waving us off the floor. Quickly, I'll take a step back, and this isn't really related to us, but I think right now we're in the attention economy, and I think in our industry, the wrong attention can be rewarded of hot takes or
at a game.
No, lip syncing at a game. That's appropriate. But like just the hot take culture or just saying something to get a certain reaction. Sure. And I think that can be a little overboard in terms of just trying to be inflammatory to get clicks and views and a reaction. And it's kind of become more not about having the nuance or having having the nuance with Luka's game last night of he's sick. And on the one hand, as several guys said post-game, like he was available, so they treated him just like he was any other player. But watching the actual game, it was like Luka was compromised. He was not himself on either side of the ball, and
made him sound like a spy.
But like, like I think there's nuance within the conversation about his performance. Whereas I saw a lot of like Luka shouldn't have played, or he should have been benched, or he this or that, and it's like I think sometimes it can be a little too much black and white analysis instead of the nuance with it.
But isn't that like partially an audience issue rather than the media issue?
No, I think the media gets into that sometimes with some of the things. Like I'll see a clip every day from some show or podcast or something that's just a ridiculous opinion or statement that I don't even think the person necessarily believes, that I think they are making to go viral.
it's also a platform issue because of the way the algorithm is set up.
Yeah.
It feeds the more extreme clips to the viewers, to the users of the
I think
platforms.
we can all agree this is why you subscribe to the LA Times, because
I am a subscriber, actually.
are you
So
really?
I am too.
Wow.
So am I.
There you go.
The Athletics.
We're paying your salary, and a subscriber to the Athletic.
Yeah, me too. Southern California News Group. Any love? There
Correct.
we go.
Yep.
There we go.
Read you.
Skiing.
Buha's block. It's free. It's free.
All
right.
I will, after today, I'll subscribe.
Can you open your phone?
As he's on the show.
This is great content.
All right, let's go. All right.
All right.
Can I read the next question?
Yeah, go down.
wanna
It was
pick one?
Joe Little, I think.
Joe Little.
4-2. I think it was that one right here.
What has been the most surprising thing about covering the Lakers that you did not accept? Not necessarily like a trade, but in terms of covering the team from a media standpoint.
Expect.
It says accept. Sorry. Expect is the word. Sorry, I read accept. I'm like Burgundy. Just put it in front of me.
Okay.
The most surprising thing about the Lakers that I did not expect.
I didn't expect you to kill Mo Bamba on the first day of the job.
You
Do,
gotta share that.
do we have to share the story?
That was a surprise.
Also, I want to give you the platform to defend your meme.
Oh my god!
Khobi's side.
all right. Which one should I go? Mo Bamba story first or the damn meme? All right, so Mo Bamba. We'll make this one quick. So for those who don't know, I covered the Orlando Magic before I started covering the Lakers. Covered them from December
Make
20.
it quick like his Laker career.
My first day, my first media availability, or maybe a second one, whatever. Mo Bamba's in the gym, getting a workout in. This is before we were going to speak with, it was a summer league
It was an option day. It was the day his option was due.
option due. It was a summer league practice availability as well. And me and Mo built a good relationship in Orlando. Covered his last game in Orlando when he got thrown out of the game in Minneapolis. Actually, here.
He covered his last game.
Covered his last game with
Austin Rivers?
Yeah, with Austin Rivers. Yes.
Last practice with the Lakers.
Everywhere.
Remember that fight with Austin?
Yeah.
It's just funny when we were in Philly and when the Lakers played the 76ers, he was on the team. He said, "Oh, not you again." Stop following me. He knows. But yeah, that practice, he sees me. We give each other a hug. We dab each other up, and kiss on the not kiss on the cheek. Well, whatever. I mean, he's like a foot taller than me. Yeah, more. All that to say, yes. After we dap up, after we show each other love,
It is Mo Bamba and Low Bamba.
he walks away. He walks into the shadows of the practice facility to the back, and next thing you know, we get an alert 5 minutes later saying that he got waived by the Lakers. I'm sorry, Mo. I'm sorry.
That was the Khobi kiss of death. Well, then you gotta defend yourself.
Speaking of kisses,
I was not being zesty during that. I'm about to shut up. Shut the hell up. I was not being zesty towards JJ Redick. It's a thing I do. It's a natural facial.
Natural zesty.
It's a natural facial expression. I think it's just we talked about it. I think black people make this facial expression a lot more often than other races. Just all the time.
I do tend to forget that there are always cameras on us next to the people we're talking to. Like, I make like really serious faces.
I make serious faces. Like this funny thing is like
you're seriously excited about what's going to go next.
On 2-3 zone game.
well, the funny thing is like the previous week someone said I looked like an angry cartoon character during the media availability. Like it was funny too because Koger, one of my first weeks on the job or when the season started, he told me, remember the cameras are always on you.
Oh, yeah?
He told me that, and I was like, oh yeah, like I'm aware of that. Like,
Give me that.
well,
someone said you looked like Sean Davis.
At a game.
At a game.
Dave.
What?
Lakers
Yeah,
longest.
yeah. It's been a minute. What did I not expect about this season?
Luka trade obviously was
This
But
season?
yeah.
they said no trade.
Yeah. You come back to me.
I think like it's a really good question. Like something surprising about covering the Lakers that I didn't expect.
I got one.
Oh, go ahead. Go.
I didn't expect them to stop wearing their special jerseys midway through the season when Jovan pointed out that they hadn't won a game in them, including the special court that they made that we still don't know where it is. Like, there's a whole special court that they don't use either. So
I might have saved their season.
Yeah, you get some kudos there. So I did not expect it. I don't think I've ever heard of that ever happening with it. Syracuse back in the I went to Syracuse. They wore blue uniforms one season, and they got routed by Kentucky. And Coach Boeheim said, we're never wearing these again. That's the only story I never heard of in the NBA.
I don't think I expected how handsome Andy Garcia looks on a day-to-day basis at Laker games when he comes. Like,
you love his wardrobe.
Dude, he is like a 1997 J. Crew catalog. Like every time you see him, like greens and browns, like tortoiseshell glasses, a scarf, all the time. I mean, a lot of corduroys. The celebrity culture, I think, is like, I can tell you guys one of the coolest things that ever happened. That was like a really big surprise. Was I wrote a story about Darvin Ham a few years ago. I've talked about it 1 to 1,000 times, and I was very nervous about the story. It was a big story, and the first email I got about it was from Flea, which was really, really cool. I was in Mexico at a wedding, and like woke up in the morning like, let's see how people reacted to it, and it was a note from Flea, which was pretty sweet.
I would say like just the fanatical nature of Laker fans.
I mean, you have a Muse.
I have a Muse account, which I guess is like shout out to Jovan Buha Muse, but
the guys at basketball knew who you were today, Dave.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like I think our profile is certainly higher by being on the Lakers beat. Just there's more attention, more eyeballs. I think also covering LeBron, which Dave, you could obviously speak to more, but like anytime LeBron talks, it's like almost certainly going to be some form of news just by something he says, even if it's seemingly mundane. It just, when LeBron talks, it's news. So like, I think that was the biggest shift from going from the Clippers to the Lakers was every time Kawhi talked, it wasn't necessarily news. And he also didn't talk very often, but that's a separate thing. Let's see, next one.
What do you want?
What about Chuck Dangler? What's your guys' favorite Lakers moments while you've all been covering the Lakers?
I have a lot because I've covered them for many years.
Seasons?
Yeah, so I covered them for 6 years before I from 08 to 14. Then I moved to Cleveland, covered the Cavs for 4 years, and now 7 seasons back here. Wow, that's crazy. So I'll start with Game 7, 2010. I've never felt an arena have collective energy like that. When they beat the Celtics, obviously they fell down 15 points. They couldn't get anything right. Khobi in the third quarter gets a sweep through move against Ray Allen, gets called a foul on Allen. He goes to the free throw line, makes all 3 free throws, and you could just feel like, oh, maybe we could win this thing. And like really, I've never felt like collective energy like that in terms of relief. I've been at a concert and you feel the collective energy. I've felt the joy at the end of a game, a team wins, but the relief, I can still like feel it in my body thinking about that game. So that one always sticks out. I covered Josh Powell as a role player on that team. I wrote a long feature about him that year. He found me in the locker room after the game, grabbed a bottle of champagne, poured it all over me. Like it was like, wow, I'm like this, you're living the dream like that. So that whole experience was incredible for me. On the flip side, I mean, something I'll never forget, and I know I covered it with Dan and Jovan, like, Khobi passing away and having to cover that. It's one of the hardest things. Hopefully I don't have to do anything as hard as that the rest of my career, because it was terrible, but also in a way beautiful, because as Jovan said, the Laker community, the fans, like it means so much to them, and to know that you're trying to like have your coverage also help them with their grieving in some way was something I'll never forget.
There was a moment from that I know that I'll never forget, which was when Michael Jordan spoke at his memorial and kind of like really pulled back the curtain on their relationship was something that like it was really beautiful. It was really, really sad. Like that was just, an incredible moment. I think I was in the bubble, which was Dave, you and I were both there, which was just like in general, like one of the craziest stretches of my life.
You have a favorite story from the bubble?
I think the statute of limitations up. I think I can tell this story. I told LeBron once that it was the drunkest I've ever been in my life. Was at the bubble, and he sent me to. I think. This
is the part that gets aggravating.
Like the rhythms of the bubble, where you would just like go to the basketball game, come back. No one else in the world was hanging out, and we got to hang out. It was so much fun, and the weird nights you would have, there was a night where I sat and drank and smoked cigars with the DJ from the Denver Nuggets, the scorekeeper from the Houston Rockets, Steve Smith, and Zach Zarba. There you go. And you just trade stories from the different walks of NBA life.
I need to make my Zach Zarba opinion public. That he's way too handsome to be a ref.
He lost a bunch of weight this year too.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah, he got in shape.
He got the Don Draper vibe.
He got in shape. He wasn't already in tremendous.
Well, no, he got in great shape this year. Yeah, it was on purpose.
Too handsome to be a ref.
Yeah. I think
There you go.
Want him to be a model
or an actor.
I think he's a super nice guy. I think though, day to day around the team, we've gotten to cover over this stretch. We've hit a bunch. We saw LeBron. No one mentioned this is a crazy game. The energy the night LeBron set the scoring record is one of the wildest nights.
I have two. That's going to be one of mine.
Yeah, that is it was crazy. You see a piece of history and it happened and people were happy to see the history and that team was so unhappy at that moment. Right before
Thomas Bryant calling for the ball.
So funny. He's open. Still open, Thomas Bryant. I love it. That was fun. The playoff run, dude. We had a really fun that year, the first Darvin season. That playoff run was a lot of fun.
Yeah. For me, I would say two that come to mind are being at the highest point of Crypto.com arena and the lowest point. So the lowest is LeBron breaking the scoring record and getting to go on the court and just we've been on the court pregame during warmups and stuff, but that was the first time I've been on during a game.
Yeah.
And seeing just looking around for that 5 to 10 seconds of just soaking in the crowd and actually seeing the full arena and just also seeing the celebrity, just seeing everything and kind of taking in that moment and witnessing history. LeBron breaking the record, Kareem's there, Adam Silver's there. So that to me is you're the lowest, as low as you could get in that building. You're on the floor in the fray. We're on the court at that point. The highest for me was actually Khobi's final game where he scores 60 against the Jazz. And at that point I was at Fox Sports and I was, just an editor, writer, hybrid. So they put me up in the hockey press box, but I will always remember just seeing the crowd reaction to it and in a way having not the best vantage point for the actual game, but to just soak in the experience of seeing the crowd going insane during the second half, the fourth quarter, as he's getting to 40, getting to 50, getting to 60. You see all Jay-Z's there and all these people. So it was just that to me is it's almost something poetic about. I think those are my two favorite experiences at the arena. And one, I was at the literal top where you can't, above the 300s, you can't get much higher. And then one, I was on the court for history.
Third favorite for me, seeing Jovan's face every time they play Not Like Us this season has been a real treat.
Then they had just a pure Kendrick influence intro video too for a very long stretch, and you were just dying. By the way, me and Jovan sit next to each other, and he's just been dying, or you were dying for that long stretch. Still down the inside.
We didn't do the beat writer row.
Oh, we didn't. Yeah.
Arrangement. I guess Jovan had to be in the host seat, but
We're close.
yeah, we are.
We're-
pretty
yeah.
close, yeah.
Well,
I sit next to Jovan. Jovan sits next
so
to
just
Jovan.
we just
switch.
switch. If we
Yeah.
switch, yeah.
Yeah.
My favorite.
Lakers moment.
It's been a lot. It's been a weird like 2 seasons. I mean, I guess my favorite one is the in-season tournament.
Okay.
That like in Vegas, like the first time of having.
That was fun. We had a good time.
Like it was. I mean, it's the first time they had a good time.
It was a lot of fun. We were in Vegas for like 6 days in the middle of the
Yeah,
season.
this.
We had a good time.
Yeah, it was the first in-season tournament. You don't know what to expect. It's kind of weird, but then like AD had 40 and 20. They're excited. It felt like at least at that moment, like the team, the morale was just good. They're celebrating, like they're building momentum off the previous season. Now what we didn't know was what to follow. Darvin accused threatens to kill Jovan subliminally. He questions. He talks about fans riding and dying with every loss. Darvin. It was some rough moments after that, but leading up to the tournament,
I loved covering Darvin.
Darvin, he was great.
I like covering Darvin. We've
Cover-
been lucky. Like the stretch of coaches we've covered have all been like really fun to work with. The locker rooms have all been pretty good too, by and large, except for.
There's been a couple.
Whoa.
There's been a couple.
Okay, so wait.
Year and a half stretch.
Wait.
Where it was not a great
Okay, I feel like we need to also get some context.
Yeah.
I've been covering the team since last season. Last season was my first season.
Yeah.
So this
After Bobamba.
yes.
You got Obama out of the league.
Yeah, I called up Rob and I said, "Look, I'm gonna do. You know what? Rob called me. He asked me to do a favor. That's what it was. Dan gets
My
that.
friend.
Dan would get that. So they have a little bit like you have some more experience to pull from when it comes to the Lakers.
Yeah, I mean the Westbrook Beverly. For the Westbrook Beverly locker
Are we
room.
going here?
No, we can. We can say like that.
Clearly, you have to acknowledge it if you say
No, but I mean, I think like certainly though, like there have been a parade of like really good guys that have come through that locker room that have made it fun to go to work. Like I loved watching Troy Brown and Wendy and Gabriel joke with each other. Like those guys are really, really funny.
Stanley Johnson.
I think like people to the question that people don't know that might surprise people is like how engaging LeBron is in the locker room to cover. And sometimes he says some crazy stuff, but like sometimes like it's really fun just to kind of like talk about the league or talk about the state of coverage or football or music or whatever, right? Like or movies. Like I think people were always really surprised when I told them how funny AD was.
Yeah.
Like, like really funny dude.
He might be my favorite Laker I've covered.
I like that. That's a good one.
He's on the short list of my favorite people I've met in the NBA.
Like, yeah, he's just a great star. Like good human being. I lost a bet. I actually told the story the other night. I lost a bet to him on a Bears-Packers game, and I bought a bottle of Camus was the payoff bet, and it was like I don't buy a lot of $100 bottles of wine. That's not really what I do. And I remember I brought it to the game and I put it in his locker. I'm like, hope it's good. And he's like, oh yeah, this is like what we just drink when we need to open a bottle. It's like we cook with it.
I'll throw in the Luka trade was it's got to be up there. So I've shared my vantage point of the whole situation. I don't know if someone wants to share theirs. We were all there. I believe there was 5 people total in the media room at that point.
Trying to kick us out.
They were trying to kick it.
More at the time when the trade broke, but by
Okay.
the time, because I remember it was us 4. Yeah, it was. I guess I'll share my van. It was us 4. It was I forget where the other dude I'm thinking off the top of my head. I can't remember his name, but he was an international reporter. I'm not gonna go there right now. No. There were 2 other, and there were 2 other guys. I just remember because we had just finished transcribing. Like we were transcribing, and I had just finished whoever I was transcribing, and I picked up my phone because I was gonna go onto Slack, and I got the Shams notification, and nobody had said anything. Like I was on my phone. That's why I see it. And I'm just like, I looked at you guys. Like I looked to the left, looked to the right, because I was like, nobody else reacted. And I was like, am I the one who saw this crap?
Right.
And then there was someone I think we were sitting next to each other.
Yeah.
someone to our left goes, "Oh shit, Luka's been traded," and I was like, in that moment I felt relief because like it's not just me, it's not just me. And then obviously like at that point you gotta get to work. Like I call my editor, call sort, like you go like you into work mode, but it was like
I think we didn't believe it at first. It took like a couple until. For me, it was until he
We all thought
tweeted
it was
out.
hacked. We all thought it was
hacked.
That was my
And then he
initial
tweeted out
instinct for sure.
the clarification that it was real, and then it was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
We were all in the hallway making calls and texting people, and it was a shit show.
And I remember like I think I did like 8,000 steps between in the media room, like from my seat to the bathroom to that little like auxiliary room or photographer's room, back to my seat to the bathroom, just like not figuring out where to move.
I went out to the stands.
Did you really?
I went out to the stands to start calling people. Yeah, like I got it confirmed. I was sitting in an empty Madison Square Garden while people were. Oh, it was empty. There were people cleaning it around me. But like that's how I think it was like my third call. The first two people I called didn't answer. Crazy night.
Into the morning.
Into morning.
Bed at 7 a.m.
I think I went to bed at like 4 that morning, and I had a flight at like 7:30.
Yeah.
That was crazy.
Wait. You went to my bad.
I got like 2.5 hours.
Sleep is good bank sleep in the season. Young Khobi. You need to
Yeah, Khobi. People should know that Khobi travels like an idiot. It's
He
true.
wears a suit to a playoff game, mother.
Oh yeah, look at that podcasting.
Okay, I mean, I don't wear suits. I don't want to add extra pressure to the situation. I don't want to contribute. And they lost, and now Scott Brooks yelled at me for wearing a tie, and now I don't. If you know me at all, you think you know. I absolutely.
Everything matters.
It all matters. It all matters.
We're hitting our pocket right now.
Okay.
in the pod.
Let's do another question. Let's do
Open up your phone.
Can I pick?
Yeah.
Let's see. This is a good question because I think this is a misconception. Do all reporters become fans of the teams they report on, and is that a positive or a negative?
I really don't think I can say this with wholeheartedly. I don't think any of us are a fan of the Lakers. My personal perspective is, you want to be friendly with the players and coaches and executives you cover, but not friends. Of course, over time, there will be some relationships that delve into that territory, but quite frankly, it shouldn't really actually be considered that until I would say the players finish their career. And then, of course, it's not my obligation to cover you on a daily basis. I could be friends with you. I do have a personal, professional opinion. Once I get through the slog of an 82-game season and the team I'm covering is in the playoffs, I want them to win the championship, because if they win the championship, I'm going to get more professional opportunities. And then there's a payoff to the work that I put in, day out. It'll give me, perhaps a chance to write a book, or perhaps the chance to go on cool podcasts, or a chance to make appearances on other television shows. Who knows what it would be. So that by me rooting for the team to succeed in the playoffs, I am rooting for my own personal success and the success of my family.
I hate your team.
Wow. So angry, Young Cubs.
No, I mean, it's a job. I mean, I'm with Dave more or less. Like, I haven't covered a team that I've been. Like, I feel like once you kind of enter this media journalist space, like, you're not a fan of it. Like, you may be a fan of the game, more or less. Well, I mean,
Dave's a fan of it.
Yeah. Like, you may love basketball. You may appreciate the NBA and what it provides, but you're not going to be a fan of the actual team or the organization that you cover.
Yeah, there's not really time to like watch a game even that way on a night-to-night basis when you're covering it, to be honest. Like, it's so to answer your question, like Dave said, none of us are Laker fans. None of us are Laker haters. Right. It's like more like we want.
Well, actually, none of us four.
None of us.
There's one in particular.
But like, I think like we're trying to like. I mean, I like root for my stories. You root for chaos sometimes. I do also like chaos, but that's rooting for a story.
Right. You want Markieff Morris to have a big moment.
So I can retweet the story. Yeah. I'm pretty pumped about Jordan Goodwin getting a couple of rebounds early in the game because I could retweet the story.
The story was a good time.
I could retweet the story. So it's like you put in work and you want to like have, to Dave's point, you want to have good enough inroads where you can tell really interesting stories, which is like what I strive to do most. and then you you just kind of want more of those opportunities as they come. I think it'd be fun just if we told everybody who we are actually fans of. Like, I do have some level of sports fandom left. It's been mostly cut off over time, but like, I'm a Bears White Sox fan. So, which is why I'm so happy all the time. I mean, Jovan, who do you cheer for?
I'm not a fan. So this is interesting for me because I grew up a Lakers fan. So I had to like kill that fandom once I started covering the NBA.
How'd you do it?
Honestly, to me, I've talked about this on here because I get this question a lot as to like how I'm not a fan of the team or and then sometimes fans get mad at me that I'm not rooting for the team or
threatens you.
When the head coach threatens my life. No, but like
It didn't.
We're joking. We're joking for legal purposes. But actually, hearing Zach Lowe talk about this because he covered he grew up a Celtics fan. Then once he started covering the NBA, and I think he started with a Celtics blog, he kind of killed that fandom, and that was the process I think I went through once I started getting credentialed for games. And I mean, certainly I was starstruck the first time I saw Khobi, the first time I saw LeBron. Like those guys, I had posters of them. I had their shoes. I had their jerseys. So seeing that was like, it was cool. It was special. But I think for me, I just made the choice of I wanted to be a reporter. And I knew if I was going to be a reporter, there's certainly reporters who are fans. Like I think there are certain markets, especially that I think their reporters tend to be fans of the team to some extent. But being in LA, that's just kind of not how it goes. And I felt like for me to hopefully reach my potential, I was going to do it by not being a fan. So I think I just suppressed it. And then it eventually, like, it was almost like a flame. It kind of went away that way.
Did you know he was starstruck the first time he met you?
No. Oh, the first time that we met? The first time you and I met?
Well, not remembering it when we talked, when you joined the beat, remember?
Oh, when I told you about the story that I thought you hated me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I thought you...
I kind of have like a resting bitch face.
Yeah, you do. I remember the first time we met was 2020 All-Star in Chicago. I was the backup Miami Heat writer for this South Florida Sun Sentinel. You were covering the Clippers at the time.
You were there?
Yeah.
I didn't see you. I'm 6'2".
What if I just this is the most this has been brewing. Dan gives me shit. 80 plus games in the season. It's a miracle that both of us are still alive after all this time. No, you don't. Screw you.
You love yourself.
Here we go. Yes.
I love how you guys.
I don't remember what night it was. It must have been Saturday night. Or Clippers. So one of the Clippers players has to be involved. It wasn't the actual All-Star game, but I sit next to Jovan, like I've been reading his work, familiar with his work, enjoying his work. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's Jovan Buha. Do it again.
Buha!
I'm the OG creator of the Jovan Buha Muse. I'm like, all right, let me go sit next to this guy, pick his brain a little bit. I'm trying to, this is my first job. I'm just a year removed out of college.
Did you give him the zesty face?
Yeah, I gave him the zesty face. Shut the hell up. Gave him the zesty face, trying to like see if I can make an inroad, and he's like, "Hey, yeah." You can be sometimes dry ass conversation I've had.
Were you like, what?
And the funniest thing is when I brought this up to him when we met. I bet you if I was 5'8" and never mind. Let me not even go there. You can take.
Next question.
Okay, next question. I think there's a family one in there that I think is good to bring up. How much our families miss us on the road.
Let's see.
Unless there's another one you want to go to.
Let's see here.
I'm glad we're friends.
There are some routines.
Oh, here. Okay.
Routine on the road.
Since you all travel while on the road, you travel to go on the road. Do you try to stick to your usual routine from home, or do you have a separate routine for each place you visit? How do you manage to sleep while traveling? I'm a good sleeper. I don't have a problem with sleeping. You're a horrible sleeper. You're a bad sleeper too, right?
I would argue. Yeah, I was up till 6 a.m.
Yeah. You a good sleeper, Dave?
So that's first of all, that's their excuse. I organized a pickup basketball run in Minneapolis this morning. Dan and I don't like to talk about age, but we're in our 40s. Both of these guys are young. They bailed, no call, no text. They were supposed to be at the gym at 10:15 to play with us. I get I'm sorry, Dave. I was up till 6. At like 1:30, he texts me that with a broken heart emoji. Like, come on, guys.
Wait, you hit him with a broken.
You're in the chat.
That's the most Drake shit of all time. Broken heart emojis.
Well, I felt bad, but
Yeah. So I just had to get it off my chest. And I'll probably go.
I set an alarm for 9.
Yeah.
And I woke up and I was just I went back to bed.
Yeah. We had to, so one of my like big hangups for all these guys is
we went 2-1, by the way. Tell people we played well.
Dan played quite well. I finally made some shots the last game.
The
last 2 games. Yeah. No, it was good. It was a good time.
Luka Doncic.
But Luka Doncic. But something that I really care about is, in order to do basically anything in life, you got to show up. You got to work. So these assholes didn't.
I'm a shitty person.
Yeah.
Hold on. Okay, that's before we answer this other question. I think I want to give everybody quick scouting reports on each of us. Dave's seriousness is a very like core tenant quality. I missed the season opener last year in Denver with COVID, and Dave gave me unending shit about not showing up to work, like I was lazy, that I didn't come cover a game in Colorado with COVID.
Against the team that beat the Lakers in the previous play.
I had COVID, Dave.
As we can see, Dave still has
Khobi has the energy of a 7-month. No, I was just saying like a 7-month-old golden retriever.
Okay.
Remember the shirt you gave me?
I did give you a golden retriever shirt. No, and like one of the like the best examples of it, and it's hard to totally explain it. I hope people get it. Dave was very gracious. We went to Epcot in Orlando. Do you remember Khobi running? like Khobi was like, I gotta go to the bathroom, and he just took off running, like somebody had thrown a tennis ball or something like that. And Jovan is
he's got that dog in it.
you got that dog in him. And Jovan, I think, also very serious, except when it gets to like a breaking point, and you're like high pitched laugh.
Oh my god!
Last night.
Yeah, like where you just like lose it. It is like it's like watching like a cup fill up, and then it just pours out, and and you become deeply unserious, deeply unserious. Yeah.
I have a very unserious man inside.
We learned in Sacramento.
Sacramento trip was the best trip of the season.
Yeah, that was fun
For you.
Give us like 2 parts of your routine. You don't have to tell everything, but a couple things.
I would definitely don't.
Keep some things to yourself.
Yeah, what do you do on the road to relax?
Before I start, shout out to Mitch. Because he's going to have to watch this bullshit.
Mitch is gonna watch this.
He's going to have a headache. Parts of my routine, I mean, honestly, like the main part is like figuring out where to work out. Like I like working out.
I saw the picture.
Oh my god.
Was he doing
Oh, now I get the no shirt there.
No, the
I missed
shirt
it the
is- he
first
posted
time.
a shirtless photo.
That was
Yeah, you jealous motherfucker. How about you do it? Try it out on Instagram.
wow.
Oh, yeah.
I did that.
I was drinking earlier, but Jesus. So that's like the main part, like working out, and then I'm a Google Calendar guy.
Okay.
So I have alarms for like an hour before. Like I time like showering, getting dressed. Like I'm very like regimented about like, all right, I'm gonna take my shower at this time, and then I'm gonna be dressed by this time. I'm gonna leave the hotel at this time. Like those are the 2 main things. We stay close to the arena, so I usually know I have the time I'm gonna work out, the time I'm gonna get a shower. Like I have it all like nailed down too.
You find a coffee shop usually too, right?
I haven't done it as much. Like so for here, I've mainly been going to pull back the curtain. Me and Dave are staying at the same hotel. We have a lounge that has like unlimited coffee, so I've just been going there. But more or less, yes. I usually find a coffee shop. I'm
Drink 8 to 9 cups.
8 to 9 cups of coffee. That's where the Labradoodle energy comes from. Yeah. I've been consuming a lot more caffeine this season. A lot more than last season. A lot more.
So I've been covering the league for a while. I generally find a hotel that is about a half a mile to a mile away from the arena because I like to walk to the game and walk back just to kind of like clear my mind on the way there and then ruminate about the game that I just covered on the way back. That's something I do. Dan's more of a creature of variety when it comes to hotels, so he'll be like, "You got to stay here in Utah. It's way better." And every once in a while, he'll get me to change my mind.
Did you do the train station in Utah?
Was it the one that you got me to convert to? Is it Utah?
Utah was the Meridian.
Yeah.
Well, there's another new one in Utah.
Okay.
It's like an old train station.
Like I said,
that's
creature of variety.
Awesome hotel.
So that's like the one thing I really stick to. No, I'm way better about, and my wife knows this, I'm way better about being regimented on working out, eating better, sleeping better at home. It was my goal this season to be better than it on the road than I was last year. I think I was, but not as much. It's just hard, We've
been more serious this year.
We've been better, yeah. Just like I'm pretty like locked in at home, but the road, like you have the opportunity, whatever, to go meet a source or something like that. You're gonna have a couple drinks. Oftentimes, it's true. And it's not conducive to like getting in bed at 10:30 and getting up at 7 and working out. So it wears on you, but also you want to maximize the time when you're on the road to, then get to know more people in the NBA world because they're going to help you. Knowing people is how you get to tell better stories.
Routine wise, I'm a good sleeper. If have a hard time sleeping, I'll do like meditation apps and stuff like that. Like it helps, I think, for me. But I noticed a weird thing I noticed was like in the last years I started to get jet lag more as like I've gotten older. Like I had never felt jet lag, like ever. I think the biggest thing to like surviving on the road is like you have to find joy in obviously what you do and like the opportunities given to us to like go to places. I wish I was better at like exploring cities. I know like when I first started on the beat, that was going to be like a big thing for me. I was like, every time I go somewhere, I'm going to go do something like cultural. Like, I remember I went to the JFK Museum in Dallas and it was awesome. It was, sad, but like it was really, really.
It was awesome.
Hey,
he says as he sees the blood
guys, spoiler alert. He doesn't make it.
Lone gunman though?
Yeah, I think so.
Uh-huh.
You don't think so?
Sad.
Let's keep it moving.
Wait, you don't think so? How many gunmen?
Let's keep it moving.
Okay. Oh yeah, because no one's ever on YouTube talked about that before. Kyrie. No, but like we're just not anywhere long enough. Like we're in, we're out. That's why the playoffs are fun. Okay. Easy. I do.
Jovan's cup just literally
Yeah, there was. But I think like I think that's one of the fun things about the playoffs is you get to like explore a city a little bit more. You get to see it. You get to see it when the weather's nicer and stuff like that. I mean, we all have our favorites and places we go, different things like that. I will say like, Jovan and I both have kids. Like that stinks. Like it's really, really hard. And I've noticed like you may have like a great night on the road, like where we go out and have like a bunch of fun, get a bunch of drinks, a great meal or something like that. And it's like, it's hard to like wake up the next morning, call home and be like, like those kids are crying all night. Like you can't really celebrate that with the people in your life. It just builds a lot of resentment.
Yeah.
Speaking from experience.
Well, no, I mean, today's my son's birthday and I'm not with him, and that's the shitty.
And your brother's birthday.
And my brother's birthday and my best friend's birthday. It's a crazy.
Can I mention your Instagram story?
Sure.
Did you notice the songs he used for the birthdays?
I actually didn't.
So for Chandler, he used 50 Cent like "Go Shorty." It's very, very sweet. It's like a really cute picture of Chandler. And then you go to the next one, and it's like, all I want for my birthday is a big booty.
That's what my brother wants for his birthday. I was just honoring him. I was celebrating him. I'm a creature of habit on the road, so I tend to eat at the same places, go to the same coffee shops. I kind of have a coffee shop and favorite hotel, favorite coffee shop, favorite restaurant. Some cities it's harder to eat healthy. Like during the day, I try to get like a smoothie or something, and some places, especially Midwest and the South, not as easy, depending on the city that you're in.
You know what's the healthiest way to eat during the day?
Oh my gosh.
Not eat.
Skip lunch.
Well, I typically this is the whole thing. I typically skip breakfast. I'm a intermittent fasting type. I usually don't eat till like 12 or 1. I would say the only routine I actually have is like doing.
Wait. Can we pause right there? You also don't wake up till 11.
I'm just like I wherever I am, I go to bed at like 3 or 4. But then in certain cities, it makes it tougher because that can sometimes turn into 5 or 6, and then I'm just not living like a normal lifestyle. I think one thing that has changed the last like 2 or 3 years for me on the road has been I used to be able to not sleep as much and like wake up and kind of have a baseline level of energy. I feel like in my old age now that if I get like under 7 hours, I like really feel it the next morning in a way that I used to not.
Yeah. Are there times, here's a question. Are there times where you guys see reports from other sources regarding certain things, other sources like other media outlets, regarding certain things or players, and either question it, take it with a grain of salt because of built relationships with certain players? I think it is an interesting thing that like the way, a broader question is like, how do we consume NBA media? I think is probably a good way to do it. We generally all know who we talk to because we see it, right? Like we to some degree, right?
You have certainly strong suspicions.
Yeah, you know, and I think and there are people around the league like the strongest relationships people have with players, like we and different other people we know about. I do think there is very rarely one side to a story, like very, very rarely, and I think that's where it gets sometimes. It is sort of interesting when something happens. Like for us at least, like trying, I don't know about you guys, like trying to like figure out like why we're hearing what we're hearing now is like kind of in like who, like sort of like who does this benefit? Like it's just like it becomes like more of a media story for me sometimes than it is like actually like what it is, like what the report actually is saying at times. But I don't know. How do you guys kind of handle that stuff?
Yeah, I would say when a piece of news comes out, my first thought is just like, to your point, like who is this benefiting and who is the likely source? And it not necessarily like a specific person, but is it someone in the organization and like the front office? Is it potentially the agent? Like who is the person that has something to benefit from this piece of information coming out in this manner? Because to your point, there's lots of sides to, I think the Luka trade has like been the most fascinating part, like thing with this, where clearly, like, you know, publicly defense wins championships and Dallas has had their you know, whatever, their defense publicly, but privately it was all of a sudden as the trade is happening, Dallas reporters are getting this, well, he's out of shape and the conditioning and the defense and alcohol and this and that. And it's like, well, we know where that's coming from. And I don't know specifically, and I have some ideas, but like, you know, the general source of, it's coming from the Mavericks organization or someone close to the Mavericks organization. So it is interesting within stuff like that, where you can kind of get a read on who is benefiting from this coming out in the manner that it's coming out and what the potential motivation is. And sometimes there is just no motivation. It's like just fact. It's something happened and here's like what happened. But there are times where it feels like it's shaded a little bit in one person's favor or against them. And that's when I think being on this side of it, you can kind of get a sense of like who's giving that information and why they're giving it.
I'll tell a specific example. So this was, man, it had to be like 2008, 2009 or something like that, where Jeremy Lin enters into the NBA from Harvard. And his agent, he ended up playing for the Golden State Warriors Summer League team, if I remember correctly. This is before he had signed with the Summer League team. And his agent at the time basically reached out to me, telling me he's representing this client. This is before Linsanity, before basically anyone even knows who he is. And is like, yeah, the Lakers might want to have him on their Summer League team. basically he wanted it out there. He wanted to build buzz. I went with it because obviously he is representing a client in telling me this, and news is news. Part of our job is to bring content to the fans on a daily basis,
even if it's from anonymous sources.
Yeah. But in retrospect, all it did was serve his client getting some buzz. I was told after the fact from the Lakers, like he was an overblown level of interest. And basically I was used. Now my story though did well. It like for being like a small blog post about a potential summer league signing, it had good traffic. But it's a lesson learned. Like as we go through this job, we hear a lot of stuff. Potential trade talks. Like it's a Wednesday, right? Teams call teams all the time, and you need to sift out whether it's realistic or not. Discord in the locker room. A guy doesn't like a coach. A player doesn't like a player. Again, that's a Tuesday. Every single team goes through it. Right, exactly. So you could, press publish on all of these little things, but if you do it and you don't have the weight of the context and the reality to it, I don't think you're doing your job well. And it obviously could generate engagement and clicks and interest, but if you're steering the viewers and fans in a direction towards things that aren't really real, you're not serving, I think, how the job's supposed to be served.
No, I mean, I just piggyback for that. That's one of the things that I learned quite a bit in Orlando and carried over to LA, like disseminating between what matters and what doesn't matter, what's real and what's not real. And sometimes what's real, it can be real, but it may not actually matter in the context of a season of the team. Like if a player is upset with another player or upset with a coach after a game, well, like you said, that's Tuesday. Or it'd be like, yeah, of course he's not upset because he didn't get the last shot or he didn't get something ran for. Or like, it could be that simple. And the next day they're hugging, they're good. Like you don't have to run with it that night, right? Just for the sake of having it up. So disseminating between what matters and what doesn't, what's real, what's not real, like that's the main thing. And figuring out, like sometimes for me at least, the hard part is figuring out the opposite. Like being like, I actually should do this because let's not be too careful because sometimes you worry, like I've been on the other side, kind of like on the opposite of what you're doing. Like I didn't run with something. It's like, oh, I should have ran with that at the time because I didn't think too much of it. I thought, oh, this is bullshit, or nobody's really going to care. And it's like, oh no, this actually was a real thing that I could have been on top of.
Couple more here before we wrap. This one.
You look like Luka.
Please don't puke the table here. Okay, final couple before we wrap. Favorite road city for food and favorite road arena, and then we got a beat writing question.
My favorite road city to travel to for food, for culture, for people is Toronto. I love going to Toronto. My favorite building to cover a game in is Memphis. Memphis, or we sit courtside. The seats are incredible. I'd like a random one though that I loved covering games at was Oracle. I loved covering games at Oracle Arena.
Favorite road city for food is New Orleans. I love New Orleans and all the unhealthy food that they have there, but it's good for a couple days. And then favorite road arena, it's a tie for me. I agree with you. Peak Oracle was Roracle at a different level, but I would say tie between MSG and TD Garden. MSG just for the history, it's the Mecca. TD Garden, especially covering the Lakers there, every game just has an extra level of weight. The crowd is always super drunk and annoying in a fun way, and it's always a good environment.
Yeah, I'm going to echo Jovan there. TD Garden, I've covered playoff series there. The Laker game, it's always a big feel type of a night, and pause. Big game feel type of night, I meant to say.
You're comfortable around all those drunk Irish people?
Yeah. Their fans are incredible. It's a great atmosphere. City, I mean, it's obvious, but New York, baby. New York is the best.
I mean, it's the best road city for sure.
I mean, and the food, the nightlife, all of it. So those are my answers.
Favorite city? Toronto, by far. Not even by far, but decent margin. Toronto. I love mac and cheese, man. They have great mac and cheese up there.
Big Drake guy.
Favorite arena? Shout out to your NBA.com. TD, just because that's the loudest. I covered a game there a few years ago when they played the Magic. That's the loudest I've ever heard arena. It was ridiculous. I actually still have a headache from then. It gave me brain damage. It was what? Favorite food?
Favorite food or on the road, city. Where are you gonna eat?
Man. You guys know my appetite. Any city. New Orleans, Chicago. I mean, I feel like Chicago's cheating.
That doesn't count,
Yeah, New Orleans, New York, and
He's from Chicago.
yeah. Grew up in Chicago. New Orleans, New York, Miami. Yeah.
Miami's a good city. And then final one, what advice would you give to someone who is trying to become an NBA beat reporter, NBA reporter, cover the league? 1-2 pieces of advice. What comes to mind?
Write for your student publications and get involved if you're in high school or college with that stuff. If that's not available, fan blogs are a good opportunity to just write as much as possible. Publish your own, start your own blog, whatever. You have that opportunity now. And don't be married to the idea of like, I want to work in sports, I need to cover the NBA. Like, you might end up covering college football. You might end up covering baseball. Like cast a wider net.
Why are we so close together?
Because you have a small phone. I'm talking to you, Jovan. No, but I think like honestly, like I wanted to cover what did you say? No. I wanted to cover the NBA. All right, Luka. I wanted to cover the NBA, but I started by covering college football, and then I covered Major League Baseball for a minute, and I covered the NFL. Like, it wasn't just go cover basketball for me. Like, I had to cover other stuff to like sort of earn the spot. But my advice would be open to that.
I think everybody has a different path. So for me, it was just cover the NBA, and like I was fortunate enough to be in LA and be close to Staples Center and the Lakers and the Clippers and be in that space to be able to do it. But I think it's also changing now. Like we're in a different time in media but I would say, look, I'm recording this right now on my phone. Like if you have a phone, which most people do, like you can create content. And you could have a podcast, you could have a YouTube channel, you can write blog posts, you can break news, you could do everything on a phone. So
It's true. Stick the land.
Yeah. So this plane is wobbly right now. But no, I would say, I mean, if you're serious about covering the NBA, my arguably biggest piece of advice would be to go move to an NBA city. It's hard. Like, it is possible to cover the league remotely, but if you really want to be a beat reporter, you want to be credentialed going to games, you have to be there. And that is still a big thing that, again, I know a lot of people are covering remotely and mad respect to all of them, but there is a difference, in my opinion, in terms of just the access and the reporting and the knowledge you have being boots on the ground at these games in these locker rooms. So I would try to move to whatever city you want to be covering the team in and find a way to get into the building, be it being an intern or doing whatever you can for a blog, a newspaper, radio station, a podcast, a TV station, whatever. Find a way to get in there. And then once you're in there, try to never leave. That's what I think we're all trying to do here.
Sound like your vows.
I agree with both of the points they made, but when Dan was saying to write a lot, also read a lot. Like, there's so much content out there. You should be consuming it all the time and listening and watching. You're watching this podcast or listening to this podcast right now, so it means you're already starting to do that process. Also, I know there's, an idea, even we see it in NIL and players, like getting your worth. I get that, but experience is valuable. And so if there's a chance to work at an internship and it's a menial actual amount of money, you're just getting, gas mileage money, or maybe unpaid. Don't do it forever, but for an amount of time to get the experience and get the networking, it's a valuable thing. I think I've just seen some young folks like assuming they want to get everything before they've kind of earned their stripes. Like
I was a manager at Dick's Sporting Goods. I worked the registers at Dick's before I had while I was a prep reporter.
Yeah, I mean,
that's how I made money.
Yeah, I had 3 jobs in college while also writing for the publication. So at Syracuse. So do all that.
Imagining Dan at the register. I'm sure you had some good conversations.
I was good at getting people to sign up for credit cards.
Yeah,
I was good at it.
Yeah. I'm gonna leave that one alone because there's too many jokes that get me in trouble. But
yeah.
Okay, yeah. But and then just finally be as well versed as you can in all the new platforms that come up. Jovan, I think he's done such a great job by really diversifying his coverage of the team by having such a strong podcast presence. And we're in arenas around the country, and folks are shouting him out from being familiar with his work, not just writing for The Athletic, but for doing his podcast on YouTube. So if you are that next person coming up, get familiar with whatever the next thing is. And Bill Simmons, a big reason why he's so successful is he started a podcast before everybody was doing a podcast. So some of it's timing. And if you are paying attention to the avenues where you could potentially be sharing your thoughts and ideas and work, you could also be able to ride a wave like that.
If you have an idea of what you want to do, find the person who's closest proximity to what you want to do and reverse look up their resume. See what they did, because to your point about taking steps, see you've done millions of things before you got to where you're at. Same with you guys. See the path that they took and see if there's something that you can approximate. Now, obviously, you guys are old. So, not you. These two in the corners.
I fucking played hoops today. I don't know what you.
Hey, congratulations!
Yeah, you slept, motherfucker.
I did.
Yeah.
Guys, let's try not to curse.
All right.
This is the internet. This is the internet.
We've said way worse things on this show already.
Decorum. Guys, this is the internet.
Decorum. You're right. But if you want to see what, if you say I want to be in Dave's spot, well, look at what Dave did before he got to this point. If or we
zone defense.
there you go. So that's one thing, and I mean, you ask the questions now, but I'm sure a lot we're open to answering questions. We're open to giving feedback. Don't be afraid to reach out to whoever that person may be for you, who you look up to, and ask them for advice. The worst thing you can do. What's the phrase? Closed mouths don't get fed. That's the so, and then the other one I was gonna say, obviously within means everyone's situations, everyone's circumstances are different, but I would suggest or advise be open to relocating, be open to moving. The place that you live in or the place that you work may not be your forever. I've been blessed, I've been lucky to where the places I've moved have been South Florida, Central Florida, Orlando, and LA after post college. All those, I was a part of NBA coverage, all those stops, great markets, but it may not be that. I have a lot of friends who same age range as me, they've moved to, I'm not going to throw a city under the bus. Oh, fuck
Sacramento.
it. Wow, I was going to go yeah, I know. There you go. Move to Boise.
I was in Oxford, Mississippi. I lived in Oxford, Mississippi.
He was about to say something ridiculous. He went so there's a lot of, your first job isn't your forever job, but be open to different locations, and you may the culture experience you get there can be informative as well. So those are my 2 pieces of advice. I was gonna say something wild on Mississippi. We need to end this before.
Any final thoughts from anybody?
Thanks for having us, Jovan.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Thank you guys for doing this. This has been in the works for a few months, and just wanted to give you all your flowers. I love you guys. I appreciate you. You all have pushed me in different ways in terms of my coverage and the beat. And I've learned from each of your work, and I just appreciate you guys. So thank you all for watching. For those watching and listening, for those watching on YouTube, please be sure to hit that subscribe button, turn on channel notifications, and like and comment on this video. For those listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your podcast platform of choice, please be sure to follow, download, and leave a 5-star review. I will talk to you all soon.